All right, everyone. Happy Monday and welcome to PhotoDay Unframed. I'm Brian Dorensky, part of the sales team here at PhotoDay. And today we have the incredible Matt Meiers, founder of So Many Angels, joining us. As we get talking today, please drop your questions in the comments and we'll get to as many of them as we possibly can. So anyway, today, starting out, Matt, how you doing?
I am good. Thanks for having me, Brian. Thanks for
Absolutely.
allowing me to share what we do.
Absolutely. First question, did you have some Waffle House this morning?
Not today. No, luckily there's not one close to me. Just on conference travel mostly.
I hear you. Well, first question, let's just start it right off.
Let's go.
Why don't you go ahead and start sharing the story of So Many Angels and what really inspired you to focus on kids with battling cancer and how the whole project got started?
Thanks. So when we lived in Delaware, 2016, 2017, I was volunteering at a Make-A-Wish event. It was at a local vineyard. I was just taking behind the scenes photos and trying to get them decent photos.
Okay.
The woman who spoke and shared her story, she was in her mid-30s. She was granted her wish when she was 14, and she was a total Miami Beach girl. Her wish was to go, of course, snow skiing, and they got a cabin halfway down the mountain. They skied out in the morning, they skied in at night. But what she said, what really stuck with me was for that week, she was not sick.
Yeah.
She didn't have time to think about her illness or her situation. She was too busy living a quote unquote normal life to worry about anything else because she was so distracted. And that's a word that the families have used a lot with me is she was so distracted living a normal life that she didn't have time to worry about anything else. And I thought, how can we do something? How can I do something that will distract people from their normal crappy situation, their everyday, what they have to go through? Around that same time, I'd seen a friend of mine who lives out in Idaho. He had posted a picture of his kid dressed as a superhero. He's not sick, but just dressed as a superhero in a cool cityscape background. And I'm like, holy crap, I know people that can edit really awesome photos. Let's start to try to do something like this. And filed with the IRS, got our 501c3 paperwork. I remember still opening it in the driveway when we lived in Delaware, and I started bawling because it was like another step of, I finally think I figured out why God put me here. And it's taken 50 years, but I'm not bitter because there's 7 or 8 billion people who will never figure it out. And I'm pretty blessed to be able to do something like this.
Absolutely. This has got to be quite a bit of a calling. I mean, really, you don't just, it takes a special person to really find this. So in that aspect, so talk to me about the approach of shooting differently when it comes to children battling cancer or even in remission compared to your other clients.
So one of the things we went over this in our pre-show meeting, I'm trying to train myself not to say kids battling cancer, not to use that phrasing, because if one of the kids we photograph passes away, I don't want to think of it as they lost their battle because they weren't equipped for this battle.
No.
It's not a fair fight. Not going into all the numbers and lack of medications and research right here, but just to. So I try to say they're warriors. I try to say they have cancer. They're with cancer. That is not who they are. They might have cancer, but shouldn't define them.
Right.
So we do have a likeness release that the parents sign. We ask them, all the pertinent information, their address, where we can ship the canvases. But also we ask the kids what costume. We ask the parents which costume they will be wearing. A lot of times that changes because we're dealing with kids, so they can change their mind 20 times a day. Right. They can like chicken nuggets for 10 years and wake up and hate your guts for putting chicken nuggets in front of you them the next day. So we just like to, if it's something a little different that they're going to be, if it's a princess or superhero, we kind of know what the background's going to be, what the poses are going to be. But if they say they're going to be Wednesday Addams or like Nolan in Atlanta wanted to be a food truck owner. He's 11. He knows this already. He's got a menu set up. He knows he's not doing fries on his barbecue truck. He's got his sister who's 14 doing graphics for him already. They've got the menu set up. He's interviewed food trucks. Um, so basically, yeah, we asked them what they're going to be on that release because we can bring any props. If they're going to be a football player, we got a football, we got
Sure.
this, we've got that. Um, Another thing, when I'm photographing a personal client, which is mainly fitness and bodyscape work,
Mhm.
I'll ask them what they do not want me to focus on. Which a lot of people say, "What's your favorite part of what we're going to be photographing?"
Right.
No, what do you not want me to focus on today? And I will guarantee you, I'm photographing whatever they don't want to be focused on.
Sure.
Because there was one woman, she said, "I don't want you to photograph my nose." And I was like, "That's going to be a little tough." But so what we did at the end of the session is I got up on a ladder in my studio and I got my fisheye out. I got right next to her nose, like I do with my fisheyes with my
Mhm.
forehead. I got a big forehead. Let's expand it. Let's make it bigger. Let's make it cartoonish. She saw the picture of her nose with the fisheye. She goes, "That's kind of cool." And I'm like, "That's what I want you to see. I want you to see that it's not as bad as you think it might be."
Right.
Um, the kids we work with at So Many Angels, they just want to be themselves. Some of them are shy, some are outgoing, some have done network TV, podcasts, radio interviews, and they just want to be a kid. Whatever they're doing, they want to be a kid. And a lot of times, I'll look back during the sessions and just look back at the parents and say, "Wow, I'm watching them watch their kid be a kid." That's what we do.
Yeah.
Just give those parents that distraction for even if it's 5-10 minutes. Just let their kid be a kid for a change instead of being poked and prodded and getting chemo and anything else. And I wrote notes here, so I apologize. I'm trying to make
No,
sure I
you're
hit
fine. Go ahead.
hit all these things here. Um, a lot of times or sometimes with when the kids have brain cancer, it affects muscles in their face. It
Sure.
might make one eye face in a different direction. Their mouth may be crooked, or just the muscles just don't work the same as they would normally if you didn't have
Mhm.
cancer.
Right.
So when I asked the families, "Hey, how did you want us to treat his smile or his eyes in the photos in the final edit?" And they sometimes they're just blown away that we would even ask that, but it's important because
Mhm.
a lot of the families, this is a step in their journey and they want it captured exactly as it is. But we had
Right.
a kid recently in Cincinnati, and Wyatt, he was a fireman, and his eyes were getting to the point where I think he's 5 now. He started asking his mom why his eyes are different in photos.
Hmm.
So she said, "There's another 6 months of treatment or whatever it was until they can do eye surgery and quote unquote correct the eyes." These are her
Mhm.
words. And she goes, "Let's straighten them out in the picture because a year from now they'll be quote unquote back to normal."
They'll be back. Right.
And with my personal clients, if I notice a scar or tattoo or something, I will phrase it. I'll try to remember to phrase it. "Tell me about your scar." Approach it that way and say,
Mhm.
"Whoa, what's that mark on your back?" or something like that. It's not as friendly, but "Tell me
Right.
about your scar." They're more likely to talk about it. Was photographing a lady one time. She had a trach scar and she was 24. And I said, "Tell me about your scar. Do you want me to edit it out?" And she goes, "You're the first person that's ever asked me that. Every other photographer has just edited it out." She goes, "That's who I am."
Mhm.
And I felt kind of sad, but felt kind of, yeah, that's why I asked.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, it is different, but it's the same because you want to treat these kids like they're people, just like want to talk to friends at conferences. Treat these models that you're shooting with, these clients that you're
Right.
photographing. They're people. I mean, they might look better than me. They probably do look better than me. Not a big stretch there, but at the same time, they have insecurities like everybody else. I photograph people who work out 25 hours a day and eat
Right.
right, and uh, they have just as many insecurities as everybody else.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, it's very true. You have to consider, you know, asking them. It's a great point to make, even for those of us that aren't photographing kids with cancer, to consider your subject and ask, do they want something retouched? I tend to make sure I don't don't do that without permission anymore. But yeah, good point. So what challenges have you encountered in running a nonprofit organization like So Many Angels, and how have you overcome those challenges? What unique things have happened in building this?
Some of the things I'm trying to learn, and this is definitely ongoing, I'm
Yeah,
trying to get out of my own way. We are not going to be able to serve the amount of families and kids
right.
I think we should, until I get the heck out of my own way. If I don't stop, if I don't kick my charity, So Many Angels, if I don't kick it out of the nest and see if it can fly, it's never going to. I've got to trust people that want to help. I've got to put them in a position where we just do sessions. If we mess them up, we we learn from that.
Mhm.
Uh, there's a lot of times, I'm going to say 99% of the time, there are no time restraints on these sessions. So if we mess them up, I don't want to mess them up, but if we lose a memory card or whatever, we can do reshoots. We can do the session over. There are occasional situations where I will travel to a house where they're not expecting the child to be around for much longer,
Right.
and those are pretty special because you there's a lot of times that we get asked after the fact, do you have any more pictures of this person?
Right.
Because that was my client's grandma, and that was our the last time we had any wedding pic. At that wedding, that was the last picture we have of her.
Sure. Yeah.
Could you try to find that? Sometimes in what we do know that it might be definitely the last professional picture for the family.
Hmm.
Um, Fundraising, I am not the best fundraiser. I don't like to fundraise. I don't like to ask for money. Our fundraising right now consists of, hey, here's a Facebook fundraiser. Let me post it 500 times and hope we get a couple $100.
Right.
Uh, if we're going to continue, again, I've got to get people on board that know fundraising. The more I learned through COVID in the last 3 years about Zooming, about everything, the more I learned about nonprofits, I realize I might be the person to take us to that next level. But like I said, getting out of my way will be the best start.
Yeah, finding the right people to run a 503c is important. Yeah, it's definitely a challenge when it's not something you're the expert at. I mean, gotta you gotta grow it somehow. Another really contentious question I'm going to ask is, how do you collaborate with the hospitals and organizations to reach these children and their families, and who can benefit? How do you find those children that want to be part of this?
So when I know I'm going to a conference like imaging in January,
Mhm.
what I'll do is a couple months ahead of time, which is right about now, I'm going to start just Googling kids cancer charity, pediatric cancer
Right.
organization in Louisville. And I'll, you know, choose the best one or two, reach out to them, show them a video of what we do, say, hey, here's what we do. Me and 5,000 friends are coming to town. We can photograph up to X amount of kids. And, if you'd like to be a part of this, let me know. And
Right.
just, work it out with them, tell them we need kids and we need a space.
Okay.
Um, Other than that, local organizations around here, watch the news. My wife will tag me or save posts where she says, here's a kid with cancer that was on TV, reach out to
Mhm.
them. So pretty much, uh, luckily, I guess not everybody knows a kid with cancer. Most people know somebody who has had cancer, an adult, or
Right.
unfortunately sometimes children. But it's I wish there weren't any kids to photograph, but there are, unfortunately. That's what we're trying to do, is find those kids and serve them best we
Yeah.
can.
Yeah. Nothing like wishing you didn't have a job.
Yeah,
You know what
yeah,
I mean? Yeah. That's one thing that's one part of this. You just got to wish it were not so.
yeah.
So, all right. Another good one. I'm going to ask. This is obviously very emotional. An emotional connection to these kids as well. What role do you think photography plays in that healing process, and both emotionally and psychologically for kids with cancer, and for you and your team as photographers? How are you guys handling all that?
So not just with kids with cancer, but photography can be so powerful. I'm
Yeah.
probably not even talking to you guys today if I didn't get a Peter Hurley headshot at a concert, at a
Yeah.
conference 10 years ago.
Right.
It just made me feel like a lot of photographers I know, we like to hide behind the camera because we don't like this or we don't like this.
Right.
Um, I'm not I'm kind of the same way, but when I got that photograph, I kind of felt like, wow, here's something I can use on social media. But not just that, but it was like, wow, I feel like this tall because I actually think I look better in that picture than I do in life because I'm used to the crappy bathroom mirrors, the crappy lighting in there. But what that did for me, I try to take that back with my personal clients and the kids we work with. It's like, I want you to feel 10 feet tall. If I'm photographing a woman for a bodyscape session, we're starting off here. And
Right.
I want to make her feel sexy from here to
From here up.
here. And if she sees that, she's like, wow, that looks cool. What can you do with this? And then we go and see what we can do with that.
Right.
Um, but we want these kids to hang these canvases on their wall. We want it to be the last thing they see before they go to sleep, the first thing they see when they wake up. Maybe they've got a chemo appointment that they're dreading that day, but maybe they look and say, I am Superman. I can do this today, or I'm Wonder Woman, and I can get through this day.
You find that just the photography session itself helps them even get through that day itself. I mean,
I think it does because we want to give them a memory, of
yeah.
course. There was a kid, Kyle, we photographed in Atlanta a couple years ago, and his mom was walking past his bedroom and saw him holding his canvas. And she goes, "What's up, bud?" He goes, "This picture really inspires me." I think he was 14 at the time. "This picture
Nice.
really inspires me. And when I get older, I want to inspire kids like me." And I'm like, this kid's 14 and they have to grow up so quickly. And it just amazes me the crap they have to go through. And it always happens when somebody new photography wise comes to a session or a volunteer halfway through the event, they're like, when's the next one?
Right.
Because you are going to get, and I've ripped this off during, some of the Zooms I've heard the last 3 years. It's DOSE, DOSE. It's dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins.
Mhm.
So you are getting that chemical rush that you get when you help somebody, or it just feels amazing.
Absolutely. Well, do you have any future plans? Do you have any new projects coming up? What's next in mind for So Many Angels?
Next in line is trying to work on what our next steps are. Might be trying to get a booth at Imaging. Last couple times we were at Imaging, we were like, here, look at the awesome work we do. And people say, how can I help? I'm from Seattle or Nebraska. It's like, you can't help yet, but look at the awesome work we do.
Uh-huh.
So now I'm trying to put together something, and I will have it together by January, on how you can help if you're in a different city or not a city that I'm traveling to for a conference or whatever. Trying to set the plans in place. So if you want to start something in a different city,
Yeah.
how you can get that started in that different city.
Nice. So not quite franchising, but
Franchise type model,
model.
but yeah, not exactly franchising.
Right. Right. Well, if you ever need help in this area, you know who to call.
I will
So,
be doing
all
so.
right. So, lastly, how can people get involved and support your mission of So Many Angels? We've got your little donate link down here. Donate So Many Angels. We've got some links over here, but what other ways can we help?
So definitely donations. Sponsor a session in whole or in part.
Okay.
Right now we have the sessions priced at sponsoring a session at $500. That session includes professional photography for child and cancer remission, movie poster quality editing. That's what I tell the parents. We might not always hit movie poster quality editing, but that's what we aim for because we want these to be one of a kind pieces. And a couple of the kids that we've been able to work with were like Charlie. We want to give them a special experience. Now, Charlie, she's not a princess or a sports person or whatever, but we asked her mom what's her favorite three things, and she said funky, colors, and galaxy. So Charlie's actually blind. And so Josh Hanna came up with this. Since she was blind, we had to come up with something that she could feel. So we had somebody paint some textures on there. And there's a quick video of Charlie with her mom's hand guiding her around and saying, there's Charlie's glasses, there's her lips, there's her T-Rex shirt. Just things like that, trying to make it special and memorable for not just Charlie, but her family and her mom and everything. And also, one of the things we do that I don't tell the parents about ahead of time, Charlie did pass away, and I had a blanket printed with her image.
Mhm.
And this is what her mom sent me. She said, yeah, it's beautiful. Thank you. And she stretched the blanket on the floor.
Mhm.
And I don't have kids, and I thought it might be a little too cheesy at first, but what I want these families to do with these blankets is wrap yourself with your child, hang out on the couch, go to the beach. We just and use it, wash it, whatever. We'll get you another one if that happens.
Absolutely.
Another thing we did was Gage wanted to dress like Kenny Pickett from the Steelers, quarterback of the Steelers.
Yeah.
So I reached out on social media and said, anybody knows Kenny, we need him to sign this canvas. And Kenny's aunt messaged me on Twitter and said, I'm Kenny's aunt. I run a charity. I lost a daughter 10 years ago to cancer. So he would absolutely like to do that. So we got Kenny to sign Gage's canvas, and we actually did some sessions with the Mile and Terry Foundation in New Jersey. So you never know who knows who's watching. Another thing we're looking for is editors. And the last thing I'm going to try to sneak in here is something I thought would go mini viral, somewhat viral, trying to do that ALS Ice Bucket Challenge. It hasn't gone. We could really use some help with the Stack Challenge. It's stackchallenge.org. Okay. It's taking 30 seconds, stack as many of whatever. Doesn't need to be cookies. It can be golf balls, cars if you work in a junkyard, books, CDs, whatever. $1 a stacked item. I mean, $15 for 15 cookies, or $25 or whatever you can afford. But the idea is to, and this is an ongoing thing, there's no time limit. We're just trying to get people to do this. So we would appreciate anybody doing that using the hashtag Stack Challenge, Cookie Stack Challenge, whatever. And that's all on the website too, as well. It's under, I think, Stack Challenge. And I think that's everything I have.
Okay. Well, let me thank you so much for joining us today and sharing your mission. This is got to be probably the top organization in my mind of giving back with using photography. It struck me the first day I saw your stuff, and I knew that this needed to happen. So appreciate you joining us today. Anyway, any of you want to go ahead and contribute, go ahead. We've got the links in the chat here. But if you want to join us on our next PhotoDay Unframed, it'll be announced very soon. You can also join us November 6th at 2 p.m. Let's just say we're dancing with excitement for this next studio to join us. So you can also join Lisa on a webinar on the 14th of November. It's going to be all about exploring the world of private galleries and capture. Of course, that link will also be in the link comments here. And if you're on PhotoDay and you're a user, go to your Academy link and you can sign up right there in the Academy. So anyway, Matt, again, thank you so much. What you're doing here, touches everybody. So
I appreciate it, Brian. Thanks for the opportunity to share. And just if you have any questions for me, comment below, DM me, email me through the website,
absolutely.
Whatever. I'll try
we
to
will see you at imaging.
Absolutely.
So, all right.
Thanks, Brian.
You bet. Take care. Bye-bye.